with Robert Tuyan, ECO's board member.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Aetna Life Live. This is our 5th episode and happy to be here with you.
Yeah, great. So for anyone who hasn't been able to tune in yet, just a brief overview of why we're here and why we're doing this. We launched Aetna Life Live about 6 weeks ago now in response to the different stories of struggle we were hearing from Aetna community members, coinciding with the different COVID-19 related social distancing and stay-at-home guidelines. And as an organization dedicated to community engagement and ourselves having to cancel a lot of the traditional ways that we had planned to engage and gather as a group, whether through events or meetings, we wanted to still provide a platform where the Aetna community can stay connected, that we can all share stories and still be a part of this network during this time.
That's exactly right. And there's also a lot of things going on that we try to stay connected through social media. And while this is a Facebook Live, some things aren't easy to put into a post. So we try to have the stories here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Last week, we shared stories from Nicole Farine with NC Hair Studio and Jess Semler, who's an Aetna Borough Councilwoman. And we heard some just wonderful insight on the importance of supporting our local community, of trying to stay positive during a time that seems really dark, and of our own grief and how we're all experiencing grief and how we can begin to process that grief. So they were really powerful messages, as were the episodes prior. And you're more than able to tune into our Facebook and our YouTube channel to rewatch those. We post those so that you can look back to them and hear those stories as well. So tonight, Robert, who do we have?
So first, you're going to be speaking with both Nick and Chad, the owners of Porky's Bar and Grill. And just a little backstory, we recently had a collaboration with Nick and Chad on the Dinners for Neighbors, which had a soft launch last week. And they provide something like a Thanksgiving feast for the seniors at Aetna Commons. And so they've been very busy in terms of continuing to improve their business and staying active in deliveries and pickups. So we're going to hear a little bit from them, how they've been navigating COVID-19. And then we also have Judith Koch, who she's a resident of Aetna. She's an environmental educator, and she's also a gardener at the Garden of Aetna. And so we're really interested to hear her perspective. And she also helped, she's a partner in Dinners for Neighbors. So we're going to hear from her on that.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to both of those interviews and hearing those stories. First, though, before I get to that, let's just share some updates on the ongoing food relief initiatives, and starting with the new Dinners for Neighbors program. So,
sure. Go ahead, Alexis.
Yeah, last week we had on ECO board members, Megan and Jess, who shared the launch of a program called Dinners for Neighbors. Essentially, with this program, we are raising funds to pay local restaurants and catering businesses to prepare to-go dinners that will be distributed to those in need on a once per week basis. We chose Wednesdays because we just love Wednesdays. We do everything on Wednesday. We saw this exact same initiative launch in Sharpsburg through Second Harvest, and we immediately kind of just aligned with the multifold impact and the importance of it. So in one way, like I stated, we are supporting our local businesses by paying restaurants to prepare meals. We are supporting those in need. Sorry, that was my cat. We're supporting those in need who need a meal by providing free dinners. And in the third way, we're providing an outlet for organizations and community members to be involved and to do good and to take an active role in caring for one another right now. So last week, with that soft launch, Porky's provided 47 meals to the at-risk individuals at Aetna Commons, and we'll hear more about that later. But tonight was our second week, and Robert, you were just out there helping to orchestrate that in its more expanded version. So, can you share with everybody how that went and what that looked like?
Sure. Kind of first of all, I want to share. Pastor JJ had a reflection this week on what's happening in Etna in a bigger picture related to food. My perspective is I wish we didn't need a program like this. I wish that Dinners for Neighbors should not even need to exist, but the reality is it does. So there's a sense that uh, being able to respond and grateful to be able to respond, right? So that's part of it. But JJ's reflection was that right now, during this very difficult time, instead of Etna being a place of it's closing up its doors, it's actually a place of abundance, and we're serving not only our neighbors that are residents, but people are coming from, as you referred to it, down the hill, across the river, down the street. And so we are helping to provide for people that live in the community and that live outside the community. And that's the kind of place that I know Emmanuel Lutheran thrives in serving others. And it's interesting to see our organization participate in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many great things happening in this community related to food, not just Dinners for Neighbors. Maybe we can wrap up with just an account of that. But right now at All Saints Activities Building, there's the food drive. It continues 3 days a week. And also Bread of Life Food Pantry continues to deliver. This week, they do not have a distribution, but they do emergency shopping. There are other resources. Alexis, you want to talk about those?
Yeah, sure. There's many. So I'll try to make sure I cover all of them. We have like you said, the Etna Food Drive is helping to provide food and donations to the Bread of Life Food Pantry. The need, as we have been explaining, is great and growing, but so are just the incredible amount of donations. And, in talking with Alexis Weber earlier this week, she noted that she was receiving so many donations that she couldn't even process them in time and still had about 40 envelopes still unopened that she needed to get through. So that's wonderful. At the same time, in the first 2 weeks of April, they served, I think, over 130 families. So even more than the full month of March combined. So the donations coming in are very important to help meet that growing need. There's also, outside of your house, which what used to be the little library is now a little food pantry, which is wonderful.
Yeah, it's been going incredibly well. It's been a much needed resource. As sometimes you do something and you want to know. It starts to measure the need as you do it, and so each day Megan goes out, and in the morning it's been half emptied. And at the same time, in the bucket below it, where new donation items, it's full. And so each day it's used and then it's replenished. And very grateful for all the neighbors who are participating in it, and I'm glad that we're able to help those that are benefiting from the new resource.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned Emmanuel Lutheran Church previously. So they have, in addition to the food drive, early on in the COVID-19 pandemic and the food related emergency, they became a distribution site for the Shaler area school district for students to receive free lunches on a daily basis. As they were working through that program, they saw an increasing need to also service adults who were not really a part of that student program. So they expanded to provide free meals to adults on a daily basis as well. And without really advertising, just through word of mouth, it grew from about 40 per day to the next week 50 adults per day, and now it's closer to 70, and the number is growing. And as word spreads and it's advertised more, it's seeing just greater activity. There's more need. So they are working really hard to support the community in that way. And they're receiving support from the surrounding network of service organizations to make that possible. So the Hampton community, Elf and Wild Church, for example, Cop Out Pierogies, they're providing meals, all of it just by relying and being able to tap into the support network has been crucial. We all, we all are in this together. We all want to just, I think, recognizing that we all need to help each other right now is really just special, and seeing that come to life in such a positive way is
Yeah.
impactful. Sure.
And Alexis, maybe you wanted to share the buddy system that you've been working on, another way for people to get
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah. So Emmanuel Lutheran Church issued a survey earlier on, more related to the food drive, about just to gather info on volunteers. And it's since been expanded, just in thinking about like what does a larger buddy system look like. And the idea for this came from the efforts made over in Lawrenceville, which expanded to Bloomfield, and where they created a buddy system for if someone has time and the ability to volunteer to help somebody who's at risk and in need and maybe can't leave their home to get groceries, they can fill out this survey, and someone, say, who is at risk and needs a buddy can likewise fill out this survey. And by having that data, we're able to make matches. So in Lawrenceville's case, they've been able to make over 150 plus, just so many matches to people willing to volunteer and people who need support. So we, of course, we saw that this had such an impact. We know that people in our communities want to help, so we replicated this over on our side of the river in Millvale and Sharpsburg. So anybody can really fill out this form if they want to volunteer to be somebody's buddy, if they need help. We certainly understand that many of the people who need help and can't leave their homes, say to go get groceries or need support in another way, might not have access to the internet or this survey right now, and we very much understand that. So if you know of anybody, please share this with them. You can be a buddy without this form, but this helps us make matches for those people who don't know each other.
So maybe Alexis, I will do a recap on Dinners for Neighbors in terms of tonight at the end of the show, and this way we can transition to our first guest, which is Porky's.
Yeah, sure, that's great.
Okay, so I will see how to bring them in a second here. Okay. All right, here they're coming. They're coming live in 2 seconds, and then Alexis, can you see them?
No, so I'm gonna hop off.
Okay, you hop off, and then I'll start. Okay. Hi guys, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Thanks for having us tonight.
Absolutely. I'm going to go a little smaller here so you guys can both be in the screen. All right, there we go. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Chad Jockle. I'm one of the co-owners of Porky's.
I'm Nick Weiss. I'm the other owner of Porky's.
Great. And you guys, how have you been doing during everything that's been going on? I see a beautiful mural behind you. So I noticed that is new.
Yeah, we've been taking this time to do some repairs around the bar. We took everything down, painted, did some minor repairs, redid the whole bar, stained it, polyed it, put this new mural up. Working on trying to get a couple more pieces of equipment in here before we relaunch again. Taking our time doing the best we can right now.
Yep.
Awesome. And hi, I'm back. Sorry. Sometimes it's just so finicky for me with my Apple devices. But in addition to that, thank you for introducing yourselves. Thank you for taking the time to be on this show tonight. We're happy to have you and to hear your stories. I'll start off by saying last week when we had Nicole and Jess on, they both, independently of one another, made comments about how much they love your restaurant. So they said that Porky's is pretty much their favorite restaurant.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yeah, and just with that in mind, I know it's a beloved restaurant. It has a history in the community. And can you just start off by telling the story of Porky's and yourselves as it relates to Porky's as well, and what makes it such an awesome spot to go to?
Absolutely. So actually, we're turning 125 years old this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Bar was first founded in 1895 under a different name. In 1943, it became Porky's.
Mm-hmm.
We are the fourth owners completely in the history of the bar.
Mm-hmm.
We took it over on June 27th, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
We made some slight changes. We just added a couple beers in here, did a little different stuff with the menu. But the thing that really spoke to us when we came in here to look at it for the first time is just how amazing it feels in here. It's like it almost feels like your living room in here, and the staff
Yeah.
is so friendly, and it was just such a good feeling when we walked through the door that it was a no-brainer for us to come in here and try to put our little spin on things. And so far, it seems to be going pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. It's that neighborhood. It certainly has the neighborhood bar vibe where anyone can just come in and feel comfortable and sit next to each other and banter and have a good beer or a good snacks.
We try to get creative to some of the things we're doing down here too to add a little fun to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I hear you have good Bloody Marys on the weekends.
Me too. We just we won #1 in Pittsburgh a couple months ago. So
Wow,
you have to
congrats.
come down and try when we reopen and let us know what you think.
That's awesome. I just related to everything that's happened recently. We've heard so many stories from businesses about how COVID-19 has impacted them, and maybe if you could speak a little to how it's affected you guys as well.
I mean, I would say obviously we are very thankful that we're still able to do takeout, takeout food, as well as, we've kind of evolved into doing growlers as well to still be able to serve, beers off our 28 taps down here. So, I mean, it has been a bit of a learning curve for us. I mean, we've added delivery as well to help people as well for those who can't get down here. With everything that's going on, if they need to stay inside and not venture out, we want to do whatever we can to continue to do that, continue to keep the doors open and kind of try to put some sort of normalcy around what's going on with, even allowing our patrons to, come get takeout, enjoy their favorite meals down here. I mean, that's, we're just trying to keep chugging through it.
Yeah. Have you found certain things like that, like delivery and just other initiatives? Have you found those valuable to your business that you might want to keep them when things return back to normal, or have you found other ways that might help contribute to the sustainability of your business in terms of being able to stay with the Etna community beyond this hardship right now?
I mean, we're definitely going to keep the growler sales going. That's been doing very, really well for us. And thank you for everyone that's coming down and filling a growler. I don't know what we're doing with delivery yet. We're kind of up in the air on how that's going to work out. But the growler sales are definitely going to stay. Daily food specials are not going anywhere. And things like that. So
yeah, I think we're going to continue. I mean, a couple weeks ago for Easter, we did the pre-made meals. And I think that went over really well, again, just for people that, aren't able to get out to go to the grocery store or to go through all the work it takes to get that meal prepared. So I think we're going to continue to do things like that in the future. We've talked about doing a Mother's Day similar thing where we can do another pre-made meal and, keep it cost effective for everybody and, kind of take the stress out of it.
Yeah, awesome. That's good to hear. You've been, just aside from these adjusted operations, have been involved in wider, community support initiatives like the Dinners for Neighbors and the Dinners for Friends that operated before the one last week over in Sharpsburg, which is really special for us. And I know it's supporting you, but it's special for the community too. So can you tell us more about this? And so what first did you do last week with Etna's Dinners for Neighbors, and what does it mean to you to be involved in a food relief initiative?
I mean, I think for us, I mean, we try to do as much as we can for the community. I mean, for having you guys reach out to us, I mean, it's a privilege for us to do this for the community.
Absolutely.
Similar to things we've done in Sharpsburg, a couple weeks before that, we did, I think it was like 54 meals.
Something, yeah, about 55.
For Roots of Faith. And, they had handed it out down at the church down the street from Roots of Faith. And, we're just happy that we can do this for the community. We launched a catering side of our business beginning of last year. And, it's kind of helped us be able to do bigger things like this in such a mass quantity. And, whatever we can do for the community, we really try to do. When we're fully operational, we do a lot of things with other local things like men's cancer awareness. We've done different parties down here to raise money for that. Any sort of benefit or food drive, or, we've done
Chuckapalooza. Chuckapalooza is always July 3rd, where he raises money for the local food banks. It's always a pretty good party down here, and it raises a good amount of money for the community.
Yeah, no, that's really special. I think just overall the willingness to give back to the community that you're now a part of because of your business and your business location, and having that relationship. So people just they don't forget things like this, and how the story behind you guys being able to help and provide in a time of need, and in other initiatives as well. So it's certainly very special.
We're very grateful that we can help in these times too. It does mean a lot to us. There's a few days now it just kind of took me back, like how much support we have down here and how much these people really do care about us, and vice versa, we care about them. So
Yeah,
it's amazing community support. So thank you so much, everyone.
yeah, that's great. And I don't think I asked this, but what is your personal relationship to Aetna?
It's our personal relationship to Aetna. I'm sorry, I just couldn't hear you.
Yeah, personal relationship to Aetna, like aside from the business. Are you from the area, or in that way?
I grew up in Shaler. I went to
Yeah.
Shaler High School, so I've been to Porky's before we bought it.
Yeah.
Probably not a bunch of times, but quite a few times. So that's my connection to it. I think it was, we had been looking into other opportunities before we came across Porky's. And when it came up, once we looked at it, we came down some more to see the current, the patrons that were coming down here. It was, a no-brainer for us as far as, what we were going to do next, and to, carry on with taking over the business and moving it forward.
I moved to Shaler about 6 years ago now. I have 2 kids in Shaler school district. It's been a great community to us. Everyone came in with such open arms to us. It was such a beautiful thing when we came down here. I love the fact that I can walk to the local hardware store and see my boy Johnny Winchell if I need to. Everything about this town is absolutely amazing to us. So
yeah,
it's such a great experience being here.
Yeah, I personally didn't grow up in a small community like this. It's more of a suburb area. And when I came and started working here, I was very interested still. Going back in a small community setting like this and receiving so much support, it's really special to see that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess you touched on the different things that you're still offering right now, but how can the community continue to support you?
I think they just continue to do what they do. We've been amazed by what, the amount of love we've seen with people coming down, keeping us going. The amount of food orders we've done some of these days has been, over the top compared to, what we've done before. So just continue to support us. We're going to keep putting out our daily specials to change it up down here, and always look out for the smoker on the Thursday, because there's always going to be something amazing coming out of that.
Great. And before we transition to the next interview, do you have any final messages for those out there?
We look forward to seeing all you real soon when we reopen. You're going to love all the changes. We have all kinds of cool ideas planned for you. So just stay tuned, keep following us, hang in there. We'll be seeing you soon.
Great.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So Robert's going to bring Judith now.
Yeah. Hey, Alexis, how's it going? Can you see me?
That was great. Yeah, I can.
Okay. I forgot to ask a question or submit a question, which was, it used to be named Porky's Plain Old Bar, which was when they bought it, and it's now Porky's Bar and Grill. So we had to get the maybe some more history on that.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe we can ask them at the end. So next we have on Judith. You want to give Judith's introduction?
Yeah, sure. So Judith is an Aetna resident. She is really has been so involved in the Etna Eco District from day one. She's just in her heart an environmental steward. She works in the environmental and ecological stewardship field. I know prior she worked with Tree Pittsburgh and helped with a lot of the tree plantings, but really overall it's just a very active resident, an active citizen, and cares deeply for the community and how we can all be better stewards of where we live and our relationship to the natural environment. And in light of the changes and the different ways that we're having to operate as a community during COVID-19, Judith has really stepped up as a volunteer and has been leading a lot of initiatives, and was part of, I'll let her really talk about this, but was part of creating a fun environmental education craft box that was distributed with the dinners on Dinners for Neighbors tonight, just as, a way to, I'll let her talk about it. So yeah, we'll be bringing her on now.
Okay. All right. Bringing her in. All right. I'll see you in a little bit, Alexis.
Okay. Sounds good.
Hi, Judith. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. Do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, sure. That was such a lovely introduction by Alexis. Thank you so much. That was so wonderful. Yeah, hi, my name is Judith. I am an Etna resident. And yeah, really, as Alexis said, I really do care for this community. It's really, I love living here. It's great. It's lovely to be involved in the eco initiative, but also to work in the garden and to be able to just to do the things that I really care about. So yeah, that's really.
Judith, you stand out for me as somebody who volunteers in so many different walks of life, and you definitely have the quintessential Etna quality of being a doer, somebody who is willing to give their time and their effort to make positive change. And I just want to add a kind of a finer point. When we say somebody who is focused on the environment, I find you equally as focused as somebody who's people-centered, somebody who's really out there caring for people at the same time and understand how those two categories are meeting. Just wonder if you have any thoughts on that as well as it relates to Earth Day.
Yeah, sure. So when you think about the environment, and if you really care about the environmental stewardship and our planet, you really have to always start with environmental justice, which starts with people, because the people that are suffering the most or are impacted the most by environmental things are people that have less. And so it's really important to start there, and then you can go on and plant trees and do all those things, but you really have to start with people to make a change.
That's absolutely right. And so you've been deeply involved in the Garden of Etna and its kind of reorganization in a way. And so we've talked about that a little bit on the show, where in past weeks we described how there were about 16 beds that were dedicated to sort of individual families, and we noted that they're all public now in the sense that the produce will be donated to the Bread of Life Food Pantry. And you've been integral in that. So can you talk about that work and, maybe start out with the thoughts behind it? How you're personally driven to contribute so much, and when people can expect produce to be down at the Bread of Life Food Pantry from where we are now.
Yeah, sure. So personally, I am really, I love gardening. That's a hobby and also a little bit of work, but I just love it. And for me right now, being involved has been really helpful in kind of like as an occupational therapy, to just, do things with my hands and actually be helpful, and, not sit at home and be worried, because that would be the alternative. I cannot go to work right now. I have nothing to go to. So going to the garden has been really, really helpful, to really bring my skills to the growing food. And yeah, usually there are 4 large beds, like double-sized beds that are always growing food for the food pantry by volunteers. But now, as the need for the food pantry is just going to be so much greater, we've dedicated all the 16 other residential beds for to grow food for the food pantry. At least for now, if things change, I'm sure all the gardeners are hoping to, grow their food again. But I think everybody understands that it's just more important to supply the food pantry. So yeah, we started growing cold weather crops. Tom has been coordinating that. We have cabbages and broccoli. We have kale and lettuce and spinach, all in the bed right now. Just really in a matter of a few days, we planted all those seedlings with volunteers. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Last week. And we're probably going to start harvesting lettuce in like a week or a week and a half, 2 maybe. We'll see how it's going, but it's been growing already. So hopefully that will be like our first harvest of lettuce that we can bring to the food pantry.
I'm personally more of a warm weather kind of crop person. Do you have? Are you excited about any of the cold weather crops, or is there a particular thing that you like to grow the most?
I definitely like to grow lettuce because it's kind of always painful to go to the store and get like plastic with it and stuff if it grows too easily really here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually I started so many tomato plants because I was gonna make a ton of tomato sauce this year. But yeah, I'm definitely happy to donate those seedlings to the food pantry too.
That's right. And so just for context, the donations that are happening at the Aetna Food Drive, those are non-perishable items. So, and then monetary donations are going to purchase perishable items, some of those being fruits and vegetables and otherwise proteins. So by the Garden of Aetna donating a lot of the greens this summer, it allows the Bread of Life Food Pantry to order more proteins and other aspects of to create that well-balanced diet. So it's very important work. And you can kind of see how the different partners in Aetna are kind of coming together and trying to meet that need. So that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
So one of the things that you're also working on is that you're one of our partners for Dinners for Neighbors. And along with meals, we're providing an environmental craft, a craft and activity for youth as well as seniors, all ages really. And before diving into what that project is, why do you feel like it's important to provide more than just food during this time period?
Yeah, I mean, we're all a little bit, we can't really do as many things that we want to do, and kids can't go to school and all those things. Like it's kind of like dents down everything on our abilities right now. So having some, getting a little bit crafty or doing some things with your hands, making something, even if it's just a very simple thing, can just be very good for your mental health. It connects you a little bit with your environment too. Even if it's just like watching out of your window the birds at a bird feeder, it can just really help you just connect with the outside world a little bit more. And you can also learn all the time things. I learn all the time more about my immediate surroundings. About flowers. Maybe I see like a little white flower that I've never seen before, and I'm curious enough to find out what it is, and just using the natural materials that are around you. You can really make something with it, and
It's just so important to find ways. So we have 2 young boys at home, and it's just so important to find things for them to do. And I'm finding that when I sit down and I do something with them, especially when it's not coming in a prepackaged box from the store, but something that we really just make up, and something that involves finding materials and putting them together. Those are rewarding experiences. So, I do appreciate this project quite a lot. And do you want to talk about what you delivered this evening?
Sure. Yeah. So every week I'll be making a little pack of crafts, and I try to keep it simple. So you don't have to bring out a drill or saw or anything to assemble anything. So it's really simple. This week there was a little craft kit, or like instructions on how to make a bird feeder just using toilet paper roll. It's like very simple, and you can just replicate it as much as you want to. There's also a little I lost my snail. No, there's a little snail in there. This is just that was what I used to cut it out. But kids can make a little, or adults can make a little mosaic with it. So I put some dried beans that I bought down at Winchell's in there. And then there's also a little nature loom, so things you can use to make a nature loom out of. And that's also a really simple thing. I have a little example here. It's falls a little bit apart.
Wow.
There we go. So it's really an easy thing to collect some nature items, maybe when you go on a walk or so, and display that in your window, or you can put it in your front yard to show other people, or in your or just brighten up your day a little bit. So that's also what the seniors got today.
Yeah, that's great, Judith. Do you think we can, following this, could we put the flyer that you developed and the instructions you developed on our social media?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's some more ideas on there, things that you really don't need anything for. What to do, like making fairy houses in your garden. You just can use the things that you find. Or also a tip I got from my friends at the Frick Environmental Center is using water to paint, like on rocks or on surfaces. Apparently that's an all-time classic for kids. So really simple things that you can just spend a lot of time with. I'll try to include all those things.
Great, thank you. So if you can, you had shared your perspective as a gardener and as a kind of environmental educator. If you could just give your perspective on what you're seeing in Etna right now and what's happening, what it's like to live here, what it's like to be a resident. What are you experiencing?
Yeah, so I'm really amazed how the community is coming together, and how everyone's putting those dinners together and working in the garden. And also just when I walk the dog, once a day I'll try to get out and walk the dog. People are checking in and saying how you doing. I don't even know them, but they'll still ask me. Most people also really take the social distancing really serious and stuff. So I feel like going out in my community, I feel safe, which is great. I think that's really important. I had situations where I went for a walk in a park, and there was just so many people, and I'll just stay here in Etna because it's just feels a little bit safer. Yeah.
Well, I am just so grateful for the many things that you do for Etna. We didn't even go through every single thing that you do, but it's just been incredible to be your neighbor, and I'm so appreciative. Before kind of signing off, do you have any kind of final message that you'd like to leave people with?
I just hope that everyone really stays safe. I also hope today on Earth Day that we also think about our planet. And I really want to just repeat what Allison said a few weeks ago, that I hope whenever we we come out of this and we rebuild this again, that we I had to write it down. I didn't want to quote it wrong. that we build something that's better and that we work towards that's more sustainable and equitable, because not, like crises like this exist. The planet is in a climate crisis, and other things might, come again. So to just like be really have like a stable safety network is really important, and I hope that everyone's like really realizing this, and we can work towards this. I also have a final thing to say. I know we had to cancel, sadly, the Earth Day cleanup, but maybe next time you go out on a little walk, take a little bag with you and do your own cleanup. Like I clean up behind my house, and
Yes.
I'll just want to encourage you to pick up some trash.
That's a great message. You can always clean up the areas around your house and when you see a piece of garbage. So yeah, I definitely, that resonates with me, especially on these windy days when we have garbage pickups, you see it even more.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Judith. I'm going to bring back Alexis now. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hello.
Okay. Reflections?
Oh, I thought both messages from Nick and Chad and from Judith were equally, I don't know, I'm just blown away by the gratitude, everybody has for the community and for one another. And Nick and Chad being so embedded in a community with their business, but, they don't have to be giving back, but they are, because they're recognizing that they're a part of this network and a community that's stronger than just houses and businesses. We're all in this together. And Judith's messages about reiterating, rebuilding, and thinking about just the people first. It's always the people first before wanting to think about environmental justice or environmental stewardship. People go equally as hand in hand. So I think in a time like this, when we're in a crisis, caring for the people and investing time and effort into each other is just so important.
Yeah, I think there's been a this has been an amazing time at the local level where you can be filled with so much hope by just kind of looking around at your neighbors and what they're doing and how people are sacrificing. And that's been, there's a part of this crisis that allows for reflection and understanding. And I've certainly gained greater appreciation of people like Judith, like Nick and Chad, and the things that they do. So this has been a great opportunity to just kind of take a moment, look around, and understand these incredible people we have around us.
Yeah, well said.
So, this program is intended to highlight local business stories and other neighborhood stories, and maybe we can just share two of the things that we've been working on related to that. So I'll try to get that up and running again. If you give me 1 second here, I'll do that screen share.
Sure. While you're getting that up, maybe I'll just provide an overview. I think a lot of you have been, maybe or maybe not, have been seeing on our social media that we created a Triborough business list, focusing originally on Etna, but understanding, we're connected with our neighbors as well and supporting those businesses. So being able to promote them, and then created this interactive map that, Robert, maybe you can walk through. But provides more of a visual representation of of who's open and what businesses are available to support.
Right. So let me get it up here. And really the point is, first of all, it's amazing. We have so many great opportunities and options in Etna and Sharpsburg and Millvale. And all you do is you log on, you sign into the map, and it shows a number of symbols. On the left-hand side, you can kind of scroll up and down and see the different food places and go to your favorite place or find a new one. One of the great features that it has is as you click on a location, say it be Porky's Bar and Grill, it brings up the Google results. So you see their phone number and their website, but you also have their social media as well, which further opportunities to see what they have. And in addition to that, there's been the development of a list. So on social media, you'll see, who's open, who has delivery, and you can also go to the tab that has additional information about what they have. And so we're just trying to provide a range of options that allow people to connect with businesses. There's also a business survey. Mm-hmm. And so we're just trying to create these tools. If there are other ideas out there about how to support local businesses, we're doing this show. There's maps and the spreadsheets and social media. But we are looking for further ideas on how we can do relief.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So please share those with us if you have anything creative in ways that we can help. Yeah. So maybe before we close, let's revisit the Dinners for Neighbors conversation. And can you provide an update on how tonight's distribution went?
Yeah, first of all, just very lucky to be in this borough from a municipal standpoint. Mary Ellen Ramage helped to put out a robocall. It went out to all the residents. Mm-hmm. And then the fire department allowed us to use Fugue Hall free of charge so that we could do distribution. They helped erect a sign that promoted it. And then both the police and the police chief Rodman helped just to understand the protocols and safety measures. And he himself came down and supported us. So really getting great municipal support. Mm-hmm. And then following that, we were there. We went and picked up at Porky's. We went and picked up at Cop Out. We met Carl, and he had 150 meals prepared, ready to go in boxes. And we delivered 47 to Heather at Etna Commons, and then she takes a cart and delivers it to each apartment. And then right down at Fugue Hall, 103 meals were passed out today. Our goal was to wrap up right around around 6 and hoping that we had the right number, right? That's always a concern. How much can you provide? How big is the need? Mm-hmm. The very last person came, and the very last person got a meal. So it was that 103 with not a lot of kind of advertising or prep for the program. So for us, that it means a lot of things. As I said earlier, we wish a program like this doesn't exist. The need is great at the initial launch of something, that the need is there. So it's got a lot of, we're wrestling with that feeling of wanting to help, and sort of bearing down on that food security is a real issue. It's not going to go away after COVID-19. And what can we do to address the underlying systems? So that's certainly it. We're grateful to Carl for being able to do that. And just so people know, yes, we were able to pay for this meal, but Carl's doing free lunches at Emmanuel Lutheran every week. So he is greatly giving to the community.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, there's this sense of great need, of course, but it's coupled with this abundance in Etna, as Pastor JJ noted. So if anyone is in need of food, they have the ability to get a free dinner once a week at the Dinners for Neighbors. When the food pantry, Bread of Life Food Pantry, is operating, they have the ability to receive food boxes. And I know that if anyone is in like an emergency situation, they are there to help. And the police have been able to help support that as well. So grateful for that. There are free lunches for students, 18 and under. No questions asked if you can get a meal there. Free lunches for adults as well at Emmanuel Lutheran. We know as well that through Meals on Wheels, you can call a 211 number to receive a frozen meal delivered to your house if you need. There's the Garden of Etna, who will soon be able to provide fresh produce. There's the Little Food Pantry, which is small, but still has an impact. So any little thing counts. And just knowing that all of these options are available, you can rely on your neighbors. You can become a buddy and support somebody who you don't know, but who is in need. So there's so many ways to receive help and to contribute to, which is inspiring.
Yeah. And so, this is something that Megan's been helping to organize, and she asked me, hey, do we need support passing out meals? Do we need to recruit volunteers? And we both kind of looked at each other and we said, we need to call Etna Prince Circus. We need to call Allison and Joyce, who have been doing with 412 Food Rescue, the bus deliveries with Priscilla. We got to talk about that a few weeks ago. So tonight, Allison and Joyce, I think they offered to be with us each week, are helping us do that distribution. So grateful for the many different ways we get to partner with Etna Prince Circus as well. And just wanted to share my appreciation and gratitude for them.
Yeah, definitely. So are we ready to close off then?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to bring back Judith. I'm going to bring back Nick and Chad. 1 second here. I think they're off. Okay, so let's close out.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody, for coming and for listening to the stories tonight. It was great. Thanks. We'll give a wave for Judith and Nick and Chad.
Okay, see you
Thanks
later.
for joining, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.